run up into one of their nosy neighbors' small nasty houses and completely tear up the entire place inside and out. As that crazy lunatic mama, Miss Ellen W. Gibbs, savagely knocked out windows, kicked down doors, ripped off rooftops, trying her idiotic best to rip them all apart, piece by crazy piece. As they all ran from room to room, still loudly yelling, screaming, hooping and hollering nonstop while hiding in closets, crawling under beds, squeezing through cracks, jumping out windows, one by crazy lunatic one. As their angry, frustrated, crazy lunatic mama, Miss Ellen, kept up her never-ending, relentless pursuit, always as upset, agitated, aggravated, without any question, as mad as she could possibly be. Sometime in their idiotic desperation to somehow, some way escape, they'd all run inside somebody else's old filthy, abandoned, torn up outhouse as fast as they all possibly could and stack up right smack dab on top of each other, nearly 8 feet high, just before she'd always angrily kick the entire building completely down, nearly breaking all their crazy lunatic necks as they all once again desperately jumped up, right back up, and took off running right back home full speed, still loudly yelling, screaming, hooping, and hollering. As they all once again desperately jumped right back up and took off running as fast as they could, still loudly yelling and screaming, as they all crowded, crammed, and tightly packed back inside amidst all the other torn up worthless junk, which consisted of 5 filthy sofas, 3 wet, filthy beds, 9 broken down tables, 18 torn up cabinets, 28 filthy rugs, 4 doorless refrigerators filled up nearly 90 pounds of stale rotten food, 45 stacks of wet dirty diapers, 80 turned over half filled up trash cans, and their one and only broken black and white TV set as they all stayed stuck in front of it all day long while loudly laughing, snickering, and giggling themselves nearly to death while their crazy lunatic mother, Miss Gibbs, stood there yelling, screaming, hooping, and hollering, trying her crazy lunatic best to knock them all down, one right after the next, nearly all day long. Miss Roberta and her ignorant sister Betsy spent all their time endlessly gossiping, bickering, and belly aching about their crazy, lazy-bone husband. Everybody called Miss Roberta Majinka Jerk's husband Slick because every time you saw him, he'd be combing his long, nappy hair as he tirelessly pulled up his huge, nasty pants and went back to sleep. She sat on their small, broken-down porch all day long, sleeping and loudly snoring, with both his big, flat, stinky feet popped up high in the air, attracting flies, as his loudmouth, gossiping wife, Miss Roberta, spent all day long pig-trailing all over town, along with her ugly, blabbermouthing sister Betsy, sticking their noses in other folks' business just before somebody would always angrily reach over, haul off, and loudly slap their small, ugly faces halfway off, knock them both down, and snatch out their huge, dirty wigs as they both then stood there loudly yelling, screaming, hooping, and hollering, looking for pity and sympathy as almost everybody else in town stood there loudly laughing and yelling out, "That blame both of y'all. That blame both of y'all. Why, you two ugly, gossiping, blabbermouthing idiots, y'all should be at home cleaning up y'all's filthy, torn up houses, all that, and all those huge rats and roaches done just about completely taken over," as they both quickly grabbed up their dirty, torn up wigs and angrily ran back home. On and on they both go, loudly hooping and hollering with their big, twisted mouths still sprung wide open, nearly 3 feet across, as their long, filthy, ankle-long dresses kept on repeatedly falling off. Time and time again, revealing their huge ashy legs and all their huge sagging stretch marks from having nearly 20 kids each, as they both quickly ran back home and flopped down on their one and only dirty, torn up sofa alongside all their ugly, dirty diapered kids who were also loudly yelling, screaming, hooting, and hollering, both as upset, frustrated, aggravated, humiliated, and without any question, as mad as they both could possibly be. On and on they all tirelessly go, loudly yelling, screaming, hooping, and hollering until all their big blabber mouths wouldn't even shut, as all their nosy neighbors' small cracked windows completely popped open and popped out as nearly 900 angry, frustrated residents stood outside in their small, trashy yards yelling out, "That blame all of y'all, that gummit, we mean it. Shut up right that smacking now. That's right, shut up, Roberta, that's smacking now. You better tell that crazy lunatic kid of yours and that idiot sister of yours, Betsy, to shut up right that smacking now," as they all stood outside all night long.